Here's my review of Empire of the Dawn, the conclusion of the epic Empire of the Vampire series. For those who haven't read this series, the basic premise is that the sun has been blotted out, so vampires and other monsters are able to come out in the day and basically rule the world, or at least make it a pretty miserable place. You follow a half vampire who's also a vampire hunter, and who's trying to protect and care for a girl who, light spoiler, has the power to save the world. So, kind of like The Witcher. That comparison troubled me a bit at the beginning of the series, at the end of the first book, because it felt so similar, but a little like Sun Eater, feeling a lot like Dune before it deviated. This story took on a life of its own. Let's start with that world. The premise of Day's death and the quest to end it is a great anchor for the world building. So much ripples out just from that event. And Christoph does a great job exploring that. The whole series features great tensions across the nations and people struggling through such a dark world. The religious pillars of the world building are also critical to this story, and Christoph does a great job playing with myths and our expectations around them. For a pretty thick tome, Empire of the Dawn moves fast. The dual POVs and layers of stakes and dangers for both of them keep you engaged through it all. And I enjoyed that while this story has elements of horror and really dark moments, there's threads of light and hope throughout, especially in the found family that followed tragedy for many characters. Speaking of characters, this series has one of the best casts I've seen in fantasy of really distinct characters, each with their own goals and motivations that also weave with or challenge the main characters in really interesting ways. Christoph's voice is great and makes for a very smooth but engaging read, with each major character radiating with individual personality. And the historian narration style of this series always added a unique element to the storytelling, and that paid off in really satisfying ways in the conclusion when the past and present finally come together. Christoph also continues to prove that he's a master of badass moments and one-liners. Believe it or not, there were some moments at the very end that I think happened a bit too quickly and easily, but I also understand why Christoph didn't take the time to dwell after so long. That's really one of my only criticisms of this book. Because of its great conclusion to the series, excellent cast, and exciting plot, I'm giving Empire of the Dawn 5 stars. What did you think of this series and this conclusion?